All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the building. We about to get it in. Of course, you know today is the day after the Super Bowl, so we got to get some conversations in on that. We're going to talk about the controversy surrounding Marshawn Lynch last week. Of course, that story broke when we left the air, so we're going to get into that. What is going on with the daughter of the late Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown? We're going to talk about that. We got some stupid criminals to get into, and we also kicking off Black History Month and the longer-awaited return of our monthly segment and our monthly very special guest. And we got a very, very special guest in the building who I'll introduce on the other side. Ain't no half stepping where Marcus J is right now.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying, then they must be half stepping. You know, half stepping. Marcus J is back live once again. Be down with us at 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show right here live on Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate everybody that's listening to our live show right now on your smartphone, on your tablet, on your computer, on the TuneIn application. We appreciate those folks. Thank you to everybody that is listening to our replays on YouTube. We appreciate it because you guys come check for us every single week. It's the reason why we are, in fact, the fastest growing internet radio station in the RVA area and beyond, and we are in fact the flagship show here of Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate everybody's checking in with us. As I set it up there at the very beginning, we got a lot to get into tonight, and so I'm gonna set it up, kind of get the crew and everybody introduced, and then we can get to it. Of course, you guys have not heard the voice of this man since the very first time Legacy Internet Radio and Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J went live way back in March of 2013 is the last time you heard this man's voice on this show. But we got him here in the building. Special occasion. We're glad to see our brother Aaron Turner is in the room. What's going on, man?
What's up?
Man, I ain't seen you in so long. I'm so glad to see you, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm saying, you know, it's crazy because I just remember many moons ago, you know, in the beginning, you know, all us, you know, started this little radio thing together, and then to see where we at now.
Yeah.
You know, us, shout out to P and, you know, a whole bunch of people, you know, out there and stuff. So, you know, good to be here. Good to be here.
A lot of people still doing their thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, we started at a place that's now defunct, and we still here doing it.
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm definitely glad and proud to see you still doing your thing. And, of course, you mentioned P was there with us, Pumpkin of the P Show. Of course, is part of Legacy Internet Radio. Is who Aaron Turner is referring to. Of course, you hear his voice, Aaron Turner of the Aaron Turner Show. Jay Grizzy's part of that crew. I mean, it's just a lot of us that, you know, is still doing their thing. So we definitely glad to see you. We're gonna hear some more from you. Of course, I'm gonna go around the room and continue the greetings, and we hear from this brother on the first Monday of every single month. He brings his legendary segment that he leads every single month when he comes, that we like to call the round table. He's my brother, he's my partner, he's my friend, and his name is Big Rube. Yo, I said his name is Big Rube. Yo, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
It's good to see you, man.
Oh, man. My show is legendary?
It's legendary.
Wow.
It's legendary.
I feel kind of happy.
Sure to rile up the masses.
Oh, it's gonna make some people get real upset.
So
today.
you gonna make some people mad?
I mean, hopefully not a lot of the female variety, but it usually ends up that way.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, you need today. If you listen to any round table, you need to listen to today's round table.
All right, well, I'm definitely.
It's off chain.
I'm definitely glad to hear whatever it is that you're gonna say that's gonna get the ladies in particular riled up, and of course, we know we here on Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J, our co-host, S.Y. Butler. We expect her here momentarily. So, of course, hopefully when she gets here, you can get her just as riled up as anybody else who may be.
Well, that's
listening.
guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for it. So, anyway, let's get to it, man. Let's get to what we here to talk about. I always like to lead off the show with the top story that's going on in the world and social media and everything. Of course, we know the top story is the Super Bowl, so we ain't even going to waste no time. Last week on this show, I chose Seattle 24-21. Big Bro Joe had Seattle. I think he had 28-24 or something like that. Ruben and Aaron, you guys obviously were not here, so I'll ask you on the honor system. Mm-hmm. Who did you have and what was the score before, obviously, we saw it play out?
The score was similar. Actually, they had Seattle winning.
Okay.
Yeah, roughly around them same scores. That 28, 24, 20, around
a 3 to 4 point.
difference. But definitely had Seattle winning.
Big Ru, what did you have?
Oh, I had Seattle like 35-21.
Okay.
But once Lane went down, that 35 went down real quick.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it, man. We don't have to. If you don't want to, you got to tell all your business. But I found myself in a bar that I didn't want to go to. I had much preferred to be sitting. Big Rube is an important guy. Yeah, I called you out. But yeah, I was in a bar. I was with great company. I just was in a very, very grumpy mood last night, so I didn't want to be there. Aaron, were you where you wanted to be last night? Did you?
Yeah. I was with family. I was family and family and friends just looking at it.
Yeah.
And just same old thing.
So you had what they call what do they call it now? It's a home gate, or what's the new word for a tailgate party at the crib?
Home gate.
It's some kind
home gate, I think, something like that.
Home gate or something like that. Ruben,
Yeah.
Where were you at last night, Ruben?
I
Where'd
was
you
at
watch?
the crib by myself, chilling.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I have
wrong
done
with
that.
that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. All right, so because I was in a bar, it was difficult for me to kind of break down the game X's and O's. I don't really care to do that anyway. From what I can gather from watching it over the shoulders of people walking past me, it was a fabulous game. But nobody cares about any of that.
Yeah.
We care about that last play. So Aaron, I'll set it up. Marshawn Lynch. Just before that, actually, there was a pass that nobody expected anybody to catch. He's tipping it, he's falling it, it barely hits the ground. It doesn't. I don't remember who it was, but it sets it up for the 5. It's first and goal. Marshawn Lynch gets 4 yards from the 5. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 1. It's 26-ish seconds left in the game. And I think every single person on the planet, with the exception of the offensive coordinator and the head coach, was expecting a running play. Right. And instead, we saw a slant. And the slant, of course, was intercepted. Now, I got some feelings about that, and I'm sure Ruben does as well. You up first, guest. What you got?
Man, I mean, the only thing I can say is, man, when you got Marshawn Lynch, give him the ball. Just give him the ball. He's a beast. I mean, clearly the whole game. Nobody. I mean, pretty much in the league, nobody really gonna stop him. So it just. I mean, that's a decision that your local rec coach can make in little league. Right. Just to give your star player the ball.
Right.
So I mean, I don't understand it, but hey.
Right.
It happened.
Big Root.
Okay. First of all, the stat is the whole season. Somehow this dude only found a way to be in a position to rush 1 yard for a touchdown 5 times. And they were 1 for 5. Now, understand stats? I get it. Do I understand the play? His explanation, it was a little bit much for me. Do I think I should have ran the ball down the throat? Most definitely.
Yeah.
The coach's excuse was, well, we wanted to throw on second down, and so on third and fourth down, we have to run the ball. Hold on, man. I can officially say I've never played like real football, like real tackle football with money and uniforms and stuff. But everybody knows you throw on third down, not on second down.
Right.
So, I get it. But if you're going to call a play, if you're going to call a pass play, why are you calling a slant in the middle of the field?
Yeah.
That possibly could be the dumbest play ever called. If you would throw a fade to Matthews, I would have been happy with that. Because at least he could have threw the ball away.
Right.
But, yeah, man, 1 yard line, half yard line, whatever, real talk, you run the ball. Whether you use Marshawn Lynch or whoever, do like the Redskins do and give it to the fullback, Darryl Young. He scored like 5 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Give it to the fullback. Nobody would have expected that.
Right.
At all. I don't even know the name of their fullback. I didn't realize they had one until Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But when it's real talk, the money's online, they about to give this dude a $10 million contract a year.
Give it to him.
I'm sorry, man. You got to give him the ball. You have to. And I don't know if anybody watched it. Me and my boy Q, we're on the phone, and Sports Center on NFL, like the postseason countdown, whatever. Tom Jackson was livid.
Yeah.
That dude
I saw that.
wanted to say some real bad words. He pretty much was. They looked at that dude. I mean, he's up there. His face is stoic. He's looking up into the sky. Steve Young's talking. He's like, this here. That's what he wanted to say.
Yeah.
And Tom Jackson, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but Tom Jackson's kind of a thug, man. I mean, he may be working ESPN and wear a suit and stuff, but you ain't gonna mess with Tom Jackson on the street.
Nah.
And the dude was a little beside himself, man. A little beside himself.
I'll be honest with you. It might have been, and I watch a lot of sports, man. At our age, I think we all have watched a lot of sports. Right. It might have been the worst play call I've ever seen in any sport in my life. I think everybody, you got all of these excuses. They were in the run defense, so we figured we'd pass, we figured we would pass so that we can stop the clock. I don't know why you would want to stop the clock because you are controlling the ball and you got a timeout that you could use to stop the clock if you really, really wanted to do that. Right. And so, I mean, there's just no way to justify that play call. It's one of those things that I think even like a person that's a neophyte to watching football would see that was just a miserable call that ended what some would say is probably one of the best certainly one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in recent years. Unless your own team's in the Super Bowl. If it's one of those games you ain't got a dog in the race, that was one for the ages, man. And let's talk a little bit about Marshawn Lynch. I know last week he caught a lot of heat, and it was basically because of his performance with regards to the interviews from the media. And we know on the first day of media day, he refused to answer any questions, and he did it by answering every question by saying, "I'm only here so that I don't get fined." And apparently he said it 29 times. There were a lot of people who had a lot of opinions about that. My opinion was made very clear in a Facebook post that I made that I did not expect to get a whole lot of attention, but it literally blew up. And, I found myself, just not being someone who was garnering a lot of favor from my Facebook family, because of, my opinion. And basically, I'll read to you what my opinion was, and then I'll read some of the comments that we got as we kind of progress. I'm going to read what I said, and then I'll have you guys comment, and then I'll get some of the comments that we have from that post. This was on the 28th, so this was last week. So I basically said Marshawn Lynch has embarrassed himself, his family, his team, and anyone who roots for him. I'm here so I don't get fined. Really? What a joke this guy is. It is a privilege to play professional sports, and you are contracted to speak to the media. It's not hard. Him and Richard Sherman, who told a reporter that asked him a question that it was a preschool question. Embarrassing. So I basically go in on Marshawn Lynch and I kind of tag Richard Sherman there at the end. Ruben, you up first. What's your opinion of what I said, and what's your opinion of what Marshawn Lynch and to a lesser degree Richard Sherman do?
Well, I remember that post because I answered it. Pretty much my thought process is I took a different stance. Like, I get it that players need to be available for the media. I get it. But it's not like this dude ain't talked to y'all, like, for 2 years. So, he's taking fines because he didn't want to talk to y'all. As being former media myself, you kind of you get to a point where you request who you want to talk to. It's not a situation in NFL which is like, okay, everybody's allowed to pick who you want. No, you request who you want to talk to, who you want to bring up there and talk to and stuff like that. They don't have to request Marshawn Lynch. They choose to request Marshawn Lynch. To me, in my personal opinion, is, I guess they hope that they'll actually get something different. But to me, it's like, well, we got the power to request you, so we're just going to request you because we can. And he has not made it. I mean, he has made it clear that he doesn't like the media. He has some bad issues in Buffalo with the media, And realistically, I understand it's technically part of his job. I think it's a bunch of crap, in my opinion. I think what Roger Goodell said on Friday is a bunch of crap as well. How it's your job. You know what? You choose it to be their job. You can choose it not to be their job. And it's not like, and the real thing about it is, the funny part is, like, they get fined. The NFL don't get that money. That goes to a charity. So realistically, he's just like, hey, I'm giving to charity, whatever. But I think after a while, man, the media, it becomes a situation. It's like, well, fine, you don't want to talk. We'll just ask you all the time. They're being vindictive about it. And it's to me, it's stupid. I feel like that, you shouldn't have to just talk to the media. What do you got? You got a bad game. What are you going to do? Why does anybody want to talk to you after you've had the worst game of your career? Nobody wants to talk to the media. I mean, I get it. I've been there. It is what it is. But look, it'd be one thing if this dude just woke up and was like, I ain't talking to the media for a Super Bowl. This dude ain't talked to the media for real in like 2 years. So why are we even – I think why they ask him is atrocious, and it's the media's fault.
Aaron, what you think, man?
I think Marshawn Lynch is an idiot. And I'm gonna say why, because I kind of going on to what Marcus say, and I'm not going because this is his show, his station, but but I'm going to my own opinion. Not only is your job, it's your responsibility. This is my personal opinion. It's your responsibility, because if I'm paying you X amount of millions of dollars, so what? Talking to the media. I mean, because you have a lot of kids, you have a lot of fans, you have a lot of people who adore you as being Marshawn Lynch, so they want to hear from you. They enjoy you on the field, but they want to hear it from you. You got people who want to hold on to every word that this guy says. So you really, if you talking about, I don't want to talk. I mean, come on now. I mean, this is your responsibility as being a professional player.
Right.
Responsibility.
I think it's just, I absolutely think it's just a responsibility to protect and promote the Shield. If it wasn't something that was contractually obligated, then you can't fine him. So it's not like you don't know, and he wouldn't be going up there saying, I'm only here so that I won't get fined. You already know. And so I get that you had a bad experience in the past, and nobody's going to begrudge you that. If you want to take that stance, if they ask you about your girlfriend or they ask you about your family or something like that, then by all means. But they're asking you X's and O's stuff about football, I think you need to open up your mouth and give a real grown-up answer and quit being, kind of sullen and being, kind of a little punk about it, to be honest with you. Got some comments here. Amber, who is on the pregame. You know Amber from the pregame every single Friday night here on Legacy Internet Radio at 8 p.m. She says that she doesn't think he cares enough to be embarrassed. Everybody isn't good at public speaking, even if it comes with the territory. Should he be forced to do something he's uncomfortable with, or forced being fined because of that? So that's her comment. Preston says if he does not like to talk to the media, that's his right. If being fined does not bother him, good for him. He's questioning how is it embarrassing. He said he was going to root for him because he's standing for something he believes in, and he's not letting money or opinions dictate that. So that's a couple of the comments. I'll get some more in as we kind of progress. One of the lone people on the blog that agree with me, Pete, y'all know him, AJ Pete from the pregame, also of the pregame, says he agrees with me on that one, but he was pretty much the only one because everybody else, for the most part,
because you're not right.
Well, it's not about being right or wrong, at least not on this one. I mean, it's just a matter of your own personal opinion. Zeke actually did jump in. He said for all those think that it's okay for him to be asked in media, and this was a comment that I had made in a different area, so I'm actually glad Zeke made this point here in his blog. He said, for those folks think that it's okay for him to be an ass in the media, go to work today and tell your boss you don't feel like doing something you're supposed to do and see what happens. Also, just because someone doesn't like a rule doesn't make the rule wrong. Gigi said that if he doesn't like the rule, maybe he shouldn't have signed that $30 million contract. K-Dub jumped in, and he doesn't agree with me. He asked, he says, I don't understand how it's embarrassment. How is it considered rude? He is saying that we both know that the reporters ask questions to get a rise out of people. Some folks are more articulate than others. It's the athlete that's the issue. No one ever gets on the reporter for asking these questions. I think K-Dub makes a valid point. My response to that valid point is it is, in my opinion, for the purposes of this discussion, time to get on the reporters. We can have another discussion about how the reporters are jackasses by even going there, or even, I think you alluded to this, Ruben, by even bringing it up to talk to him, because you know he ain't going to say nothing. So why keep asking the same question?
Yeah.
That's a valid point. I think it's misplaced for this discussion simply because we're talking about Marshawn Lynch. But when I say this discussion, I meant that blog. But if you want to interject it here, by all means, if that's where you want to go.
Well, I mean, it's basically with media, you ask who you want to talk to. They can just not talk to him and be whatever. He has to be available. Unless he has a concussion, he has to be available. But, real talk, they don't have to ask for him. And he's taken enough fines to be like, yo, why do y'all keep, like he said on Thursday, why do y'all keep talking to me? I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I'll sit here for the next 4.5 minutes and just look at you the way you look at me.
Right.
And, that's how I feel. I think he's right.
Said that he must have been talking to Dion. Hey, have Steppin, Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio, 804-402-2893. Here with Big Rube and Aaron Turner and yours truly, getting in about a whole bunch of stuff that's going on here. That Super Bowl, by the way, this will be the last thing I'll say on it. It was the highest rated television show in the history of television. 114 million people tuned in to watch the New England Patriots go in and beat the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, let me throw one more thing at y'all, and give me your opinions on this one quick, because I want to move on in the interest of time here. We now know that Tom Brady has the credentials to be talked about as one of the greatest of all time. He's got 4 rings, just like Terry Bradshaw has 4 rings, and there's one more. Joe Montana has 4 Super Bowl rings. Joe Montana has 5.
Joe has 5.
Joe has 5. Okay. Well, there's somebody else that has.
Did you see the commercial where he put up his 5 fingers?
Yeah. Well, now I think that we can put the whole Deflategate thing to rest. We talked about that all last week. But anyway, just real quick, give me something on the legacy of Tom Brady. I mean, is he up there?
I mean, he was there before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, he was there before the Super Bowl. He won 3. He was a 6th-round pick. He was basically a nobody. Took a team that was a nobody and took them to 6, 7 Super Bowls. Yo, man, if Jim Kelly is in with the Bills, he was in like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think that we would be disingenuous if we didn't give props to someone who made it to the Super Bowl 4 times. Okay, you didn't win.
No, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to be
because
I'm not trying to diss Jim Kelly.
We know how we feel about Dan Marino, and he went, I think, as a rookie or a second-year player,
He went
and never
as a
went
rookie.
back.
Yeah.
And never went back.
So
Yeah.
I mean, to me, he's got 4. When he had 3, I mean, really, you really want to talk? Aaron Rodgers is in that conversation too, and he only got 1.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So-
Aaron, what you think, man?
I definitely agree. Even before the Super Bowl, you know, he's in the talk because I mean, you know, you have to. I mean, with him, you know, he took, like, you know, Rue say, less talent, you know, to the Super Bowl than a lot of the greats.
Right.
You know, took, you know, nothing,
Right.
you know, and made him something. So yeah, I definitely agree. Even if he was lost yesterday,
He's still up there.
you know,
He's still up there.
You know what I mean? Yesterday didn't make a difference.
Either way, he's said, is clarifying his statement. He's saying that Marshawn Lynch did an interview with he did an interview with Dion, is what he's saying. And also we know that he did something with, I think it was Kenny Mayne. So he'll talk to who he wants to talk to.
Right.
But he just is not interested in sitting there and letting them go ahead and talk to him. Ruben?
One quick thing,
Yeah.
yo, if you didn't watch NFL Honors on Saturday night,
I saw some of it.
yo, you need to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
When they gave Thomas Jones the Man of the Year award, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and they showed that video, yo, man, I teared up.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude said they had a extension cord from the neighbor's house so they could have lights in his house. What?
Yeah.
Yo, that is poor.
Yeah.
That is so poor. And now he's got this great charity, man. I was done after seeing that, man.
And speaking of that, and I don't want to go too far left, but did y'all? And I'm not saying this because he's my guy, but did y'all see Odell Beckham Jr. with Drew Brees and set the Guinness Book of World Records for one-handed catches? Did you see the video? That was crazy.
Right,
33 at 10 yards, and it would have been more if they hadn't run out of balls.
Yeah.
They ran out of balls. He had to throw a couple of them back to Drew. That's just insane.
Truly.
I mean, yeah, he need a haircut though.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody knew that was gonna be Player of the Year.
Yeah.
That-
No
I was
doubt.
clearly
No doubt.
Player of the Year.
Yeah, no doubt.
But however, there were some plays in there that were like questionable. They got number 2. They showed that. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate those folks that are listening to us live on TuneIn. We appreciate those folks that are hitting us up in social media, as well as those folks that are listening to us on our replays on YouTube. Moving on to some sad stuff here. I want to talk about Bobbi Kristina Brown. We know that she is the 21-year-old daughter of the late Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. We know that on Saturday she was found face down in the bathtub of her home, rushed to the hospital. Been conflicting reports as to her condition. Throughout the weekend, we found that she had been on a ventilator in a mentally induced coma on life support. There were some reports that it did not look good for her recovery, that she had minimal brain activity. There was some reports this morning that she had not gotten any better. Then there were some new reports this afternoon that state that she was coming along, at least getting a little bit better. She's still in that medically induced coma to make sure that there's not a lot of brain swelling. Of course, the family is conflicted with regards to how she got to be this way. Apparently she had an argument with the husband, and that was the catalyst that led to this particular incident. Obviously her dad, Bobby Brown, has asked for privacy and prayers, and there are reports that both sides of the family are in there fighting with each other. So I think we got it all set up here. I think it's very eerie, Aaron, that on the anniversary of Whitney's passing, which is next week, I believe it's the 11th. I actually remember exactly where I was when I got that note, but that's crazy. But if we lose this young girl, we lose her the same way we lost her mom. Tell me what your thoughts are about Bobbi Kristina, this whole situation.
Yeah, it's number one, sad, and I can kind of I saw the development of this, since the beginning of Whitney Houston passing, and like you say, we heard different stories of family, the arguments, and even down to the when the funeral, that the conflicting thing of they escorted Bobby out and he couldn't sit with the family, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and unfortunately, when things happen, deaths and loss in families, people, for most parts act like idiots and stuff instead of just, kind of squashing the little beefs and just, go on and, take care of the loved ones or the one that was lost. So, but with her, my opinion, I do have a background in substance abuse counseling, and I saw this development because my opinion is that, a lot of times when you have parents or parent who suffer from substance abuse, you have the kids see a lot, and, a lot of times the parents don't think they see, but, kids know. Kids are much smarter than what we think they are.
Right.
So my guess is, you talking about this young lady, all her 21 years, saw different things. Of course, Whitney might have thought she was hiding, but, they know. Right. They know. So eventually, you start dipping and dabbing in and all this type of stuff. And, she probably was going through a grieving since, these years, because from what I understand on the outside, she never got any type of counseling or, nobody, family still fighting. Like apparently they still fighting to this day.
They actually said that, I don't know if you heard this piece, Aaron. Let me just add this and you pick up and finish your point. But they said that she obsessed, Bobbi Kristina, obsessed over the anniversary coming up of her mother's death. Yeah, and 3 years coming up here. Continue your point.
And again, getting to a more clinical aspect of it, those are the times when, things come up again emotionally, with people like that. If they haven't dealt, with the issue and then she's in a, sad case as well because, she has the whole world, looking at her. And I know recently it was a video, people clowning her with her singing because the video came out recently, went viral, people clowning her singing and stuff. And they got to be hard because, number one, she'll never be a Whitney Houston.
Nobody will.
Yeah, nobody will. And then, but in her heart and mind, that's my mom. And, somebody probably told her she can sing a note. So she probably think, she can sing like Whitney Houston and the whole world just bashed her.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's no protection and it's different from, me or you, because, we might have a couple of family members bashing it, but you're talking about the whole world.
The whole world.
Everything, she's not Whitney, she this, she that, and it was different mistakes of, her, this and that for the last 3 years.
And everything gets blown.
Everything gets blown up.
Everything gets blown
Everything, so, in those situations, you have to, the Bobby Browns and the family to the fight, you got to protect this girl. And I actually heard this years ago after Whitney had passed, Yolanda Adams had put that out there. Like, y'all need to protect this girl because the world is going to come after her.
And eat her up, unfortunately. Ruben, what you think, man?
I mean, it's sad. Like Aaron said, man, she's got so many issues. So many issues stem from just her family life. I mean, before Whitney was gone, it was just like, and I don't want to place blame, but from what I hear, moms never liked Bobby. Well, sometimes you got to get over that.
Gotcha.
And, the TV show, everybody thought TV show was going to be about how crazy Bobby was. Nah, people saw that Whitney Houston has issues. And, putting that out into the world wasn't the greatest thing in the world. But, it's just one of those things, man, that I really don't like placing blame on family members. But it just seems like the fact that they have allowed Bobby not to be in her life, her father not to be in her life, it's kind of a problem, considering that there's so many girls out here who don't have fathers, and she has one, and the family keeps her from him.
Yeah, it's just, when I look at this whole situation, man, I just harken back to seeing old file footage of Whitney on stage, and she'd bring young Bobby Chris out as a little girl, 3, 4, 5 years old. And, for me, that's the Bobbi Kristina that I remember and kind of knew. Then one day I looked up and she was, kind of a grown up, and with grown up problems, and it just really, really broke my. Anytime somebody dies young, that's sad. Whitney Houston, of course, is who I'm referring to. But when they have children, that's just tough, man. It's natural for a child to bury their parent, but you want to have a little bit of life experience. You don't want an 18-year-old burying their pre-50 parent.
Right.
And if that pre-50 parent had lifestyle choices that caused them to not be here any longer, especially if it was ongoing, you have to know that that's something that could rear its ugly head in that child. We all have vices. I can't speak for anybody in the room. I'm sure I can just speak logically. We all have vices.
We do.
And we hope that our children don't pick up our vices. You know, and it's just one of those things, man. It's just really, really, really sad. Go ahead, Aaron.
And you know, right quick, Bobbi Brown. I actually had a pleasure, probably about 15, 20 years ago, actually kind of hanging out with Bobbi. When she lived in Atlanta, and you know, he's not that dude that's in the media. Granted, it was a short time of hanging out with him, you know, an hour, just talking, no media, no nothing. You know, a couple friends, whatever. You know, I got introduced to him. And just talking just like this. Right. And, you know, of course, that might have been an hour.
Right.
But I never got any of that from, you know, what the media had portrayed this guy.
Right.
And, you know, just like, I mean, he's just a regular cool dude. You know, and the thing about it is like, you know, and, you know, we all, you know, been in presence of, you know, celebrities or, you know, come across. And you can tell the ones that just, you know, arrogant, you know, or just.
I think we all know who those folks are.
Yeah, you know, or just humble. But I did not get that from this guy.
we know how Ruben feels about that guy.
But I didn't get that from this guy. So, you know, I just pray for him, the family, her, and just, you know. And you know, the little beefs they got in the family, they just need to squash it.
To knock that off.
Need to squash it.
On Marcus J. I'll tell you a real quick story before we move on. I remember when Bobby and Whitney got together, and I've always been a Bobby Brown fan.
Yeah,
you know, since New Edition, always been a Bobby Brown fan. And when they got together, and I just remember the people. A lot of folks in my family and just a lot of, you know, people in the media just killed Bobby, and he's going to bring her down. He's going to mess Whitney Houston up and all this kind of stuff. And then when she started having her problems, see, we told you, blah, 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 blah. I remember all through that whole time frame, and I mean no disrespect to the deceased in this statement, but I remember saying back then, like, yo, I know where this girl comes from because she comes from where I come from. We grew up 10 minutes from each other. And that's not to say that I'm hood and she's hood, but I just know where she came from. And so to expect that any problems that she would have would be solely because of her interaction with him, I just always thought that was unfair, that was put on him. And, you know how they ended up doing what they did is, you know, their own business. But I just never thought that was fair. You know, how Steppin, Marcus J, live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. I got a couple that are, one is going to kind of make you smirk, and one is going to kind of make you kind of shake your head. This is the reason why we call this segment, What the Hell? I'm asking, what the hell is going on with a GOP lawmaker? I'm getting this one from dailykos.com. California Republican Tom McClinton explaining why he wants to keep the minimum wage at poverty level out of compassion and concerns for workers. Quote, only raise the minimum wage if you want to rip the first rung in the ladder of opportunity from teenagers, for minorities, for people who are trying to get into the job market for their first job. The minimum wage doesn't support a family. We all know that. It's not supposed to support a family. The minimum wage is that first job when you have no skills, no experience, no working history. That's how you get into the job market. That's how you develop the experience, develop work record, get your first raise, then your next raise, then your promotion. That's the first rung of opportunity. If your labor as an unskilled person just entering the workforce is worth, say, $7 an hour at a job and the minimum wage is $10, you have just been made permanently unemployable. That first rung of the economic ladder has been ripped out and you can't get on it. That is a tragedy. End quote. Okay. Crazy. Now, a lot of times when I bring up these stories, fellas, y'all know, and this is for our new listeners, I don't bring them up because I want to attack an individual. So GOP Representative Tim McClinton, it's not really kind of about him. It's about people like him, and it's about people who support him. Because for him to say something like that and for people to be like it's Family Feud and going, good answer, you know what I mean? It's a thought process. So, fellas, jump in here, Ruben. When you hear that statement, you know, from someone who is in Washington, this is somebody that's a lawmaker. What you think about that, man? He compared the minimum wage. What did he say? It's minimum wage is for teenagers and minorities. It's for teenagers and oh my goodness, so much that we can say about that. What do you think, man?
All right. First of all, he's an idiot. Let's just get to it. Let's just be right. Now he's an idiot because of the way he spoke of his position. Now, me, I am in favor of not raising minimum wage. And I have reasons. However, they're not because it's for young people and minorities. That's ignorant. You know?
That's right up there with the Mitt Romney statement and the 50%.
Oh, yeah. So, do I think they should raise minimum wage? No. Why? Because when you raise minimum wage, the backlash is everything else goes up. And just because people who have minimum wage to get more money, great. Everything goes up. I ain't getting a raise. So I'm now paying more for stuff that I used to get for whatever price it is now. Now, and people, you know, it's true. Minimum wage should not be used to take care of a family. And I think his reasoning and his reasons are stupid and ignorant and whatever. However, the science behind not raising minimum wage makes sense. Now, if he had quoted that, I might be on his bandwagon. I can't be on that bandwagon because that's wrong.
Well,
that's just ignorant. But, you know, do I think minimum wage should be raised? No. That's just my personal belief. I don't back this dude because he's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, just because you agree with the spirit of what someone says doesn't mean you have to agree with them totally. Aaron, what you think about this situation?
It's scary because, you know, like you said, he's in Washington and more, you know, so that, you know, more than likely he has a whole group of idiots behind him thinking the same ignorant nonsense. And, you know, when you talk about minimum wage, I do agree it shouldn't be raised. Because everything else raises up, and, you know, say, you know, the guy that's making $40,000-$50,000 a year, you know, if you raise the minimum wage, just like what's been going on with McDonald's workers, $15 an hour. That's ridiculous. Flipping a burger, that's ridiculous. I need to get an application. You know, if you're going to do that. But, you know, on the other end, with that is like, what happens to that kid that's on that balance beam at 16 years old when he's able to drop out of school and now listen to his teacher or even have the thought process of furthering his education to go to college when he said, well, I can just drop this. I go to McDonald's, make $15 an hour. And if that's the minimum of McDonald's, he can work there 5-10 years. You know, by 10 years, he's $20 an hour. He can support a family.
Yeah.
You know,
on the front line.
Well, I'm going to disagree with y'all. I think they should raise the minimum wage, and we can debate what they raise it to. But my thought is the more money that a person has, the more money that they're going to spend, and ultimately it'll be good for the economy. Similar to what the when we all got that one-time refund a couple of years ago.
I didn't get it, but people got it.
A lot of people got the stimulus.
Yeah,
the stimulus. But the reason why they did that was they said they figured if we give you $1,000, most people are going to spend that $1,000, and some of them are going to spend $800. Either way, you know, that money is going to come right back to us anyway. And I think that's a good reason why you do it, because for those folks who is not going to automatically turn around and spend their new money as the person who benefited from the raised minimum wage. But, you know, I think that I don't agree that, you know, the minimum wage is for supporting a family. But anytime you can tap on the shoulder of big business and say you need to do better about taking care of the people that work for you, I'm going to be all for that, because we also know that those people are part of the 1%, and the amount of money that the chips that they stacking is pretty high. So I see a better benefit of actually doing it. But the original point of me even bringing this up is the condescension that he harkens here. Just is asinine when you're comparing teenagers and minorities. You know, with no disrespect to either community, to put them in the same, to paint them with the same broad brush is so outrageous, so condescending, and it shows me that this man and people who agree with him have no idea what it's like to be a part of the middle class, have no idea what it's like to be a part of the lower class, and these are the people that we send to Washington to take care of our benefits and our interests. It's outrageous to me. So I just wanted to get that out there and see what y'all thought. The last thing I want to get into now, this one right here, this one is for my gun enthusiasts. If you're a gun enthusiast, you'll be interested in this story. I'm getting this one from WFLA.com. It's out of Florida, out of St. Petersburg, Florida. And sometimes I just like to read a headline before I get into the story, and this is one of those times. St. Petersburg man builds a gun range in his front yard. Neighbors outraged. Yeah. In Lakewood Estates neighborhood, filled with families and children, on any given day, you're going to see children playing and climbing trees and all that kind of stuff, which is the reason why news of a residential gun range did not set well with the neighbors. Quote, I don't know if this idiot is going to start popping off some rounds. I'm furious, says Patrick Leary. Moms and dads, of course, are extremely upset after their 21-year-old neighbor, Joseph Caranti, told them he built a homemade gun range. I don't want to hurt myself or any neighbors. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to use this as my enjoyment. I don't want to have to go to the gun range when I can just go outside my door. I wouldn't have done all of this if I would not have done all this if I didn't know the reaction. But he has also said that he is not going to take it down. Wow. Fellas, Aaron, you up first, man. He got a gun range in his front yard.
Another idiot. I
got stupid criminals later, so
stay
tuned.
Well,
these ain't the stupid criminals. These are the stupid law-abiding citizens.
Wow. I mean, it's a time and place for that. Not in your front yard. I mean, that's why they have places, for that, and that just, it's a safety deal with kids, and it's just all the way just wrong. Yeah. I mean, it just don't
shooting
fit.
Range in the front yard. Just because you can don't mean you should. Ruben, what you think, man?
I agree. This dude is a pure fool.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you just put it in your backyard where you probably have more space, and you know what? You might mess around, be able to shoot like an automatic weapon, and nobody really care.
A lot of people, at least particularly here in Virginia, have acreage where they can set that kind of stuff up on their property. But the front yard, man, that's tough. That's tough. And I grew up in a neighborhood where I knew kids that got killed. You know what I mean? Kids that got killed due to gun violence. I know people personally that is not here anymore, and I can't speak for y'all, but my guess is you guys know some folks as well. Definitely. And I know a couple of people that caught a hot one that wasn't meant for them. Mm-hmm. And so if you see this person do that, and then apparently here's the crazy part. The city can't do anything about it because he is a legally law-abiding citizen who has a right to carry his weapon. You know what I mean? And so, they're trying to get the laws changed, but it's not against the law to just pop off.
Right.
That's crazy, y'all. That's crazy. You should see their faces, listeners. The two of them right now. Two of the smartest brothers I know, and neither one of them.
It just don't make sense.
None
right. whatsoever.
You're right. I can.
Common sense is thrown out the window.
Yeah, well, common sense ain't as common as it should be. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We're gonna take our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna ask what the hell again. This time, we're gonna ask what the hell is going on in Washington, D.C. middle school. This story is centered around Black History Month. And I got two of the stupidest criminals you ever heard in your life. You can't miss this next segment. Stay with us. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. with Big Rube and our brother Aaron Turner. Stay with us. Be back in a few minutes.
Tired of wearing that same old raggedy T-shirt to group events, civic, and work situations? Then why don't you check out our folks, Live Action Captions. They offer T-shirt services here in the Richmond and Tri-City area, offering multicolored, direct-to-garment printing at an affordable price. Guess what? No charge for changing colors for a design either. Pick and choose whatever you want out of the rainbow. No minimums at all. Discounts at 25 or more. If you'd like to rock one of these hot shirts that we here at Legacy Internet Radio do, then you can get with live action captions at 804-640-7180. Again, that's 804-640-7180. And for all the folks who don't like to use the telly, we got it on the internet at live-action-captions at Comcast.net. Again, live-action-captions at Comcast.net.